Welcome and thank you for your testimony today. Do you know what frazzle drip is?
I'm not aware of the specifics about it. I heard some references about it from my team over the past 24 hours.
I just learned about it in the Washington Post this morning. There's an article with this headline, "A Platform for Free Speech That Extremists Routinely Exploit." And in it, the article explains that the recommendation engine for YouTube, which is owned by Google, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. The recommendation engine for YouTube recently suggested videos claiming that politicians, celebrities, and other elite figures were sexually abusing or consuming the remains of children, often in satanic rituals, according to watchdog group Algo Transparency. The claims echo and often cite the discredited Pizzagate conspiracy, which 2 years ago led to a man firing shots into a Northwest Washington, D.C. pizzeria in search of children.
Corey Feldman has no idea what it's like not to be famous. He was just 3 years old in this McDonald's commercial. His roles defined the 80s. Goonies.
This was my dream, my wish.
Stand By Me.
Call my dad Lee can kill you.
License to Drive.
The only difference between you and that greaseball is that he has a license and you don't.
But being famous so young, he says, caused serious damage to him and his friends. A lost childhood and a loss of innocence. He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh yeah. In the same way, it's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread.
Oh yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys. Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it.
The New York City policemen who have been committing suicide have another thing in common besides the mode of death. Each of them viewed a certain video found on the laptop of disgraced former congressman and public deviant Anthony Weiner. The video was located in a folder named Insurance and made grown men vomit and cry. Nicknamed Frazzle Drip, it originally appeared on the dark web where some were able to capture the footage before it was wiped from the internet. The paid mainstream censors quickly labeled it fake and went after the alt news with a vengeance. The policemen who could prove the video's veracity are dead, except for two.
So who is Anthony Weiner again? You know, this guy. And this guy. Things seem to be going pretty great for Anthony. A congressman himself, he was married to Huma Abedin, an American political staffer who was vice chair of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign for president of the United States. Abedin seemed to be a sure thing for a Clinton White House. Of course, that was before police began to investigate her husband Anthony, who was ultimately sentenced to 21 months in federal prison for an illicit online contact with a 15-year-old girl. During its investigation, the FBI found over 15,000 emails on a private email server of Hillary Clinton's.
So one of the things, if I were the president, I'd do is demand the Anthony Weiner laptop and get it to the most trusted person in the military to take apart everything on it and then start using it. There's a lot that can be prosecuted, I have no doubt, on that laptop.
So what all was found on this laptop? Well, the NYPD source says that the Weiner laptop has enough evidence to put Hillary away for life. It said that these emails include evidence linking Clinton herself and associates to money laundering, child exploitation, sex crimes with minors, perjury, pay to play through the Clinton Foundation, obstruction of justice, and other felony crimes. It's worth noting that this is not the first time the Clintons have been tied to crimes involving exploitation of children. Remember Laura Silsby, who was convicted of child trafficking? And how about this guy? You know, this guy and this guy.
The infamous Trump announcement that the Epstein files would never be released has set off the firestorm we are all now witnessing. His supporters are now figuring out Trump has been replaced while the so-called real Trump continues to be, at this time, missing in action. Now the summer political entertainment continues as the Obama and Trump factions throw dirt at each other as their rule implodes. A lot of the elite pedophiles will be revealed. Watch the blame game, a U.S. Space Force source says. That is why the Democrats are now suddenly pushing the Epstein material, while the Trump people chant their election stealing and Russiagate mantra. Next is a video detailing this summer's entertainment.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue, and I just want to start by saying that this is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I've released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you reference this President's Daily Brief document.
The so-called movie continues as the Democrats and the Republicans pull their punches, because the truth is they are both going down for both diddling sexually mature 15-year-olds, and, even more appalling, torturing prepubescent children to death on an industrial scale. In Australia, 20,000 missing children. In Canada, 45,000 missing children. In Germany, 100,000 missing children. In India, 96,000 missing children. In Jamaica, 2,000 missing children. In Russia, 45,000 missing children. In Spain, 20,000 missing children. In United Kingdom, 112,000 missing children. In United States, 460,000 missing children. That's 900,000 missing children each year. The actual numbers are 8 million worldwide and 800,000 just in the USA. Both sides of this ongoing fake political fight in the US are involved in this mass murder. Let us start with the new Zionist fanatic Trump. Here is a picture of Trump and Epstein in a plane. Trump has his arms around 2 children. His middle finger is pointed at a girl who is chewing her knuckles in terror. We asked experts to study the photograph, and they say it is neither AI-generated nor CG. Our sources say it is the real deal.
Hillary Rodham Clinton, just when we think it can't get any worse with some of these corruptions we've heard about her, apparently there was a hidden file on Weiner's laptop with a video in it entitled Insurance Policy. Understand, this is no longer a conspiracy. There were a total of 12 individuals who saw this video, and 9 of those 12 people are dead now.
What the hell's going on here?
So far this year, there have been 9 NYPD suicides, 7 since June. Last year, there were a total of 4.
The video is described as pure evil. According to QAnon, the infamous White House insider, President Trump's recent announcement that he is going after high-profile sex offenders is directly related to this video. The bad video is of Hillary, Huma, and a little girl. They are terrorizing the child. They filleted the child's face off while she was alive and put it on their faces to further terrorize the child. They were deliberately causing the child's body to release adrenochrome into the bloodstream so they could drink the blood when they bled her out in the satanic ritual sacrifice. This was what caused grown men to become extremely sick, and many needed to seek out psychological help after viewing it. The perpetrators all need to be hung by the neck until dead. These are very psychologically messed up murderers, vile, demented, and soulless demons. Multiple sources within the FBI and NYPD have confirmed the existence of this tape. And then, of course, recently, there's this.
In fact, I heard that the New York police officers who saw some of it, even though they're hardened investigators, literally had to go throw up.
D.C., more than a dozen teenagers have been reported missing, all of them Black or Latino. These are just some of their faces we're showing. There was an emotional town hall last night. Members of the community spoke out, telling their city leaders they're afraid for their families because of what they view as an apparent spike in the number of missing kids. Sadly, though, for that community, the chief of police told the crowd that this is far from a new problem.
The disturbing fact is that we do have that many kids that go missing in our city, and it's been that way for a long time.
Evergreen was Hillary Clinton's Secret Service name. If you Google Evergreen, you're going to see thousands of pictures of these containers on boats. Some of those boats are owned by Paul Martin, our former prime minister. Inside those containers, children. There's 40,000 children's foundations in Canada. Now, these containers have been coming and going from Canada. Paul Martin knew about it. John Chrétien knew about it. Stephen Harper knew about it. Peter MacKay knew about it, Justin Trudeau knew about it, and that fat-ass Kim Campbell knew about it, and they let it happen. This is what's going on. We're shut down for a virus while the Marines are rescuing millions of children from the underground. That's not all. There's millions of adults in the underground. That's not all. There's millions of children in Canada that are being trafficked currently by these gay lawyers and CAS agencies across Canada. You're going to hear about it in the States first, but you're going to wake up in a week or so, and a lot of people are going to be gone. And when they're gone, you're going to know why.
The so-called golden billion for centuries, for 500 years, they have practically lived off of other peoples. They were ripping apart these poor peoples, poor nations of Africa. They exploited Latin America. They exploited the countries of Asia. And of course, no one forgets this. And I have a feeling that it's not even about the leaders of these countries, even though it is a very important thing, but the common people of these countries. In their heart, they can feel what's happening. They can see our struggle for our independence, for our true sovereignty. And they see this connection with their aspirations to be truly independent, which is exacerbated by the fact that in the Western elites, there is a strong desire to freeze the current unfair state of things. In international affairs. For centuries, they've been stuffing their stomachs with human flesh, and they've been stuffing their pockets with money, but they must realize that this ball of vampires is about to end.
Oklahoma City, first horse meat, then the mysterious pink slime, now human meat. A shocking discovery has been made in an Oklahoma City McDonald's meat factory and other McDonald's meat factories nationwide. Meat inspectors reportedly found what appeared to be human meat stored in the meat factory freezers of an Oklahoma City meat factory, and human meat already in trucks right outside the factory ready to be shipped to McDonald's restaurants. Health inspectors immediately demanded inspection in various McDonald's meat factories across the country and horrifyingly found human meat in about 90% of the factories inspected thus far. The USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, has seized McDonald's production and shipping and will call for more meat factory inspections and restaurant inspections. The FBI is also investigating the factories. FBI agent Lloyd Harrison told Hustler reporters, "The worst part is that it's not only human meat, it's child meat." The body parts that were found across the U.S. factories were deemed too small to be adult body parts. This is truly horrible. The situation brings up many unanswered questions. How long have they been using human meat? Where did they get the children from? Were they already dead when brought into factories?
Rabbi Avi Finkelstein, as I said, a rabbi off the East Coast of the United States. Are you there with me tonight? Hello, I am here. There's a lot of rumors and conjecture that's taking place across this country relating to the Jewish population, okay? Okay. The masses have a hard time believing anything. Well, we've done a great brainwashing job on them over the centuries, and especially the last few hundred years. We've just brainwashed them completely. They believe anything we tell them. And, and I mean, we have a lot of fun around Passover where we steal the children. I mean, we steal 100 to 300,000 children a year just here in this country. And we drain their blood and we mix it with the Passover bread. And then we throw the bodies into the slaughterhouses that we own. And we grind up all the bodies and the sausage and the hamburger. McDonald's is one of our favorite outlets. And the people, they eat them for breakfast. They eat their children for lunch. And, as Jews, we gotta do what we do. It's no thing to like this. So that's why I'm speaking so honestly here, to bring it out into the open so that you can see it for what it is. You've been teaching the people real good, but they don't wake up, do they? Because you know why? They're scared of us Jews, because they don't want to be called anti-Semites, and they believe that we're the chosen people, and so that's why we can do whatever we want to do, and we can get away with it because the white men are cowards, and we go to the synagogue all the time and have some manischewitz and dance to Hava Nagila. It's not that you Jews are hiding anything. You're coming right out on television, in the newspapers, on the radio, and you're telling the people exactly what you're going to do before you do it, and they're like they're brain dead.
Well, we did a good job with the public school system. We got you to put all of your children in there. You notice that the Jew doesn't put his children in there. They go to the Hebrew Academy, where we teach them the real things, and then they go to the synagogue and they learn the real important things. But we send your kids to the public school. We even have you tax yourself from your property so that you never own your property. And so if you don't make your property tax, we're going to take your property. You can bet on that. And we have you put your kid in a 12-year babysitting is about all it does, because you don't learn anything. And then by that time, the kids, they get to be teenagers, and then we give them the music. Not that we really want to call it music, because, oy vey, that's not music. But they listen to that, and then they want to do what they want to do, and so we sell them drugs, and we make a lot of money off your children. Your children from cradle to grave. All we do is make money off of them. Your cattle, your goyim, the human cattle, Hufflepuff.
Well, that's very interesting. I understand that, but I also know the bloodletting. I know that on your Passover, which isn't mine, that a lot of little children do disappear, and I do know that, and I know a lot of police departments and agencies have been informed, but you're very open. You're very open tonight. I'm very surprised that you're talking about the bloodletting of the little children, that you put their blood in the matzah balls, and that you eat it on sacrifice on Passover.
Well, there was a goyim that wrote a book about it back in the 30s. I forget his name at the moment. But anyway, he wrote the book. People didn't buy the book. People don't want to listen. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years, since down to Adam's time.
we take the children of our enemy, which is the white race, and we bring them to the basements in the synagogue, where we drain the blood and watch them die there. It's very similar to how we do the sacrifices that we do with the kosher butchering, and so we do that, and then we mix it with the Passover bread, and so we eat the blood of our enemy. And the body, we're not cannibals, so what we do is we take those, because we can make them shekels, and we give them to the slaughterhouses, and those are pounds and pounds and pounds of meat that we grind up in the sausage and the hamburger, and that's why we made those the most popular things, sausage for breakfast and hamburger for lunch. And so all the goyim out here are really eating their children. And even when we say this outright and tell you people, you don't believe it. So that's your problem. But you goyim out there, you never teach yourself. You don't self-teach. You're always looking for somebody else to do it for you. So you wind up being schleppers all your life.
I am fed up. I've had enough. I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore.
This convicted pedophile had over 1,000 photos and videos of kids, toddlers as young as 3. There were animals raping the kids in some of the videos and photos, and also adults. This guy had 6 indictments signed off by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson in a plea deal that took 15 minutes. Guess what? Of the 6 indictments, 5 were dropped. How many does that leave us with? That leaves us with 1 indictment. Alan Wilson signed off on a deal where he was convicted of 1 indictment, 3rd degree. Remember, over 1,000 photos and videos of toddlers as young as 3, including animals. It's disgusting. They did the deal in 15 minutes. You want to guess how much time this pedophile served? He served 1 day in jail. It was, quote, time served. 1 day for all this. You know what that makes Alan Wilson, South Carolina's Attorney General? You know what that makes him? He protects pedophiles. He's a pedophile protector. This is disgusting. He shouldn't even be dog catcher, let alone Attorney General for South Carolina.
10 Americans have been detained by Haitian police as they tried to bus more than 30 children across the border into the Dominican Republic, allegedly without proper documents.
The group of Americans, most of whom are Baptist missionaries, were caught trying to take 33 Haitian children across the border to the Dominican Republic. It was also learned one of the lawyers defending the group was a man suspected of sex trafficking.
How many children are missing? You know.
I knew the answer to that. I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess
Nothing?
we can end this right now, if you guys want.
Sorry, this is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes 1 or 2 to ruin it for everybody.
Please, this
That's
is
what
our
happens.
first. This is our only
Well, we could say that about you. You ruined it for
You're
everybody.
welcome, you're welcome to say it. You're the media. You can say whatever you want.
You're a disaster.
All right. Okay.
Please.
You've been the worst mayor we could possibly imagine.
You won't even wait.
Respect what? This is the most dismal response we've ever had.
You won't wait for your turn. You want to shout over these guys that are legitimate.
Why don't you give them the real answers then? Give them the real answers.
That's not his question.
Let him.
Yes.
Silsby is back on American soil. She was freed by Haitian authorities after she was convicted of illegally trying to take dozens of Haitian children out of the country in the wake of January's giant earthquake. She cried as she greeted family members at the airport.
It feels incredible. I just give praise to my God. I thank Him for bringing me home. It feels incredible. I just give praise to my God. I thank Him for bringing me home.
Silsby said her faith had gotten her through the ordeal.
Now, I wonder what God she's actually talking about here.
She was originally charged with kidnapping and criminal association. Those charges were dropped for her and the 9 other Americans who were part of her group. They've also been released.
Our leaders are low-life scum that screw little girls so the Jews can screw America. I just said it. American politicians little American girls to be videotaped by Israeli God so that Israel can blackmail American politicians. That's the state of America today. God ought to destroy this country. Put that video out. Go ahead and clip this video and send it out. I dare you. You won't do it because you're scared.
After being convicted of kidnapping 33 Haitian children who had families, Laura changed her name to Laura Gaylor and worked for the US government for Amber Alerts, a service which deals with missing children. Does that sound normal to you? Someone who's been convicted of child trafficking to be involved in such a service? Monica Peterson was the assistant director of the Human Trafficking Center in Haiti and was critical of the Clinton Foundation and its role in human trafficking in the region. She was later found dead of apparent suicide.
The DC Pizza Network that has now been fully exposed by researchers and concerned citizens everywhere online is merely scratching the surface of something that most people on this earth cannot even begin to imagine.
Hillary's ex-chief of staff, Tamara Lozado, in her blog called Evie's Crib, the headline of the blog says, "Evelyn is growing up. Soon she'll be the queen of the entire US of A. Right now, for a limited time only, you can spend some time with her online, raw and uncut."
So as you can see here, this is a picture of the White House tunnel system. You go right by Vesta Pizza and all the other pizza places if you directly connect the White House to Camp David via walking on Google Maps.
She also links to a different blog called Jack's Place. In one of the posts, she says, Jack is owned by Ken Weber and Stephanie Copeland. When you go into the blog, you find a post called Naked Time, and it shows a censored version of a naked baby. But when you look at the caption, it says unrated version of this photo, available only to premium subscribers, with a winky face. Many found that strange, but I guess it could just be a joke.
One of the weirdest things I found was this Pizza Express in a former West Station platform that was abandoned and is now under DC in one of these abandoned tunnels. And that's interesting because
the DC Pizza Network that has now been fully exposed by researchers and concerned citizens everywhere online is merely scratching the surface of something that most people on this earth cannot even begin to imagine.
Hillary's ex-chief of staff, Tamara Lozado, in her blog called Evie's Crib, the headline of the blog says, Evelyn is growing up. Soon she'll be the queen of the entire US of A. Right now, for a limited time only, you can spend some time with her online, raw and uncut.
So as you can see here, this is a picture of the White House tunnel system. You go right by Vesta Pizza and all the other pizza places if you directly connect the White House to Camp David via walking on Google Maps.
She also links to a different blog called Jack's Place. In one of the posts, she says, Jack is owned by Ken Weber and Stephanie Copeland. When you go into the blog, you find a post called Naked Time, and it shows a censored version of a naked baby. But when you look at the caption, it says unrated version of this photo, available only to premium subscribers, with a winky face. Many found that strange, but I guess it could just be a joke.
One of the weirdest things I found was this Pizza Express in a former West Station platform that was abandoned and is now under DC in one of these abandoned tunnels.
Are those really the 3 ingredients?
Yeah, fish liver, human flesh, or shark.
You guys, is this...
Is that a problem?
Is that...
And there's a stigma surrounding this.
We're good. Legal cleared it. We're good. We're good. Let's go on, Brian, please. All right. Yo. Thank you, Kev. Thank you very much. All right, Joe. Fish liver, shark,
or human flesh.
God help you, it better be shark.
All right, 2. What do you think it's going to be?
Shark 2.
Shark?
The liver is like too obvious, and I don't think it's human flesh, so I think it's shark.
Chef Keith, can you tell us what is the secret ingredient in this dish?
Yes, I'm afraid you're both wrong. It is human flesh.
And this is completely atrocious in a day and age where we're starting to wake up to the realities of sex trafficking and what's going on with these kids. They let all these kids in. We still don't know where over 300,000 of these kids are. And you're sitting here testifying, saying that they gave a hotline for these kids to report if they were okay, if they needed anything, and 65,000 calls went unanswered. Do you know how many staffers the administration assigned to answering these phones and helping these kids?
One
staffer? Any idea how many hours a day this staffer was working?
No.
Maybe that's why there were 65,000 calls that weren't answered from these little kids, huh? Unbelievable. Thank you. I yield back.
For the people that still go to McDonald's and worse off, still feed their kids McDonald's, let me break this down for you in a scientific way. And I know you probably heard it before, but it bears repeating. McDonald's sells about 7 million hamburgers per day worldwide. So that's about 2.something billion hamburgers per year. And I'm not talking about Burger King, Wendy's. I'm not talking about the steak you eat every night. I'm not talking about all that cow meat that we throw on the barbecue all summer. I'm talking about only McDonald's. There are only 1 billion cows on this planet, and 300 million of them live in India, where you cannot kill cows. So where are they getting this meat from? It's not from cows, because the math is not mathing. Stop feeding your children meat that you don't know what kind of meat it is. It's not cow meat.
You woke up and you didn't really know what's going on, so we'll explain to you.
I did. Hold on. You hold on, please. No. Let me talk to you, sir.
DCF has paperwork, a judge-signed paperwork that says the police can use force and enter this home and retrieve the baby. That is the paperwork. Do you know that the last time that we were here, she ran out the back door?
No, I don't know that.
Okay, that's why we have 4 officers here. And we have a supervisor on the way.
I don't know none of this is going on. That's not my kid. That's not
okay,
my
but
kid.
that child belongs to the state.
You heard that right. She said it out loud. That child belongs to the state. And guess what? Your child does too, as long as you register them with a birth certificate. You don't have to believe me because I'm not here to convince you. I'm only here to inform you that as soon as you sign that birth certificate, you signed your child over as federal property.
When you were born, your parents unknowingly registered your birth with the state, which created a corporate legal fiction in your name. It is the all capital letter name that is on any financial instrument that you sign. That's on your birth certificate. That's on your social security card. This is referred to as the straw man. Strawmanius homo. It is Latin for a man of straw, one of no substance, put forward as bill or surety.
A teddy bear covered in human skin was found outside of a gas station. Authorities in California say they were called to the area around 12:30 p.m. on July 13th. This was after they were following up on a report of a, quote, object that appeared to be human remains. Witnesses described the bear as having a face-like piece sewn onto its head, along with what appeared to be skin-like material stitched all over its body.
Nine-year-old Jacob Doskal is led into the courthouse in handcuffs, his head down to try and avoid the waiting cameras. Doskal was arrested yesterday and is charged with raping a 16-year-old girl, sex abuse, forcible touching, and endangering the welfare of a child.